the heroes, big part of it.
Yeah.
Like to play as Boba Fett, like to play as Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader. I've actually been playing the, what is it Hero Battle? Is that the one where it's each side has the 3 heroes and then you get kind of stuck being the hero versus
battle.
villain, heroes and villains, heroes and
that's
villains. That's it.
Yeah.
I was totally kind of whatever about them when they were pickups in like larger modes.
Yeah.
And then I'm totally hooked on this because it's kind of always this excitement of like, who am I going to be next?
Yeah.
And it's so cool because like Princess Leia and Palpatine, they spawn like guards.
Yeah.
Like Leia's got her commandos and the Emperor has shock troopers. And I think that's the coolest way to handle that because those characters kind of in themselves aren't really that like flashy. But then to bring out like, oh, guess what? The next 2 people who have to respawn get to be one of your backup dudes.
I've been thinking about that. Like you see Leia fire a blaster a couple times in the Star Wars trilogy, the original. But you don't ever really see Palpatine kind of like out there doing field work.
Palpatine is effing hilarious running around.
He really is.
He's like, hey.
Especially with like controlling him in third person, you just see this like kind of this character shrugging through the forest. I was just playing this morning and Palpatine showed up and he's just yelling and shooting lightning bolts at everybody.
He does that terrifying little somersault thing.
But we got news that along with all the DLC that's coming, including the Battle of Jakku stuff, which did you jump into yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I couldn't find a game.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. Well, there goes our last argument. But we had a question from Stu Ritchie on Twitter. That's at StuLFC for life. Asked, which heroes do we want in Star Wars Battlefront? We know 4 of them are coming, probably just for starters. I think a lot more are coming.
Yeah. How do you top Boba Fett?
I mean, that's really hard, right?
Boba Fett is fun as hell because he's
like I love Boba Fett. You really, really love Boba Fett. Being able to like fly to areas in that game that you couldn't even dream of.
That's awesome.
Shooting rockets and flamethrowers and stuff like that. And you're hearing his voice crackle over his microphone.
That's not his voice.
Cool. Well, you know what I mean.
That's Tamira Morrison's voice.
You know what I mean?
David Prowse is the voice of Boba Fett.
Shut up.
Actually, what am I saying? David Prowse.
Such a
Jeremy Bullock.
Big jerk.
But yeah, what do we want? Lando?
Yeah?
I think Lando.
Okay.
I don't know what Lando would do. If we're thinking in terms of game mechanics, what do you do? Because we've got a bunch of humans, we got a guy with cool armor, we got a couple Jedi, we've got some Sith users, whatever. What next, you know?
Yeah.
Like, do you have R2-D2 in there? How does he work? Like, what... Mechanically, I don't think it works to have another human in there.
Well, yeah, and it's also, like, visually, I think it's kind of distracting to see, like, 30 guys shooting at R2-D2. Like, blowing him up.
Pretty funny, though.
Or he's like, what? Lightning bolts are shooting out everywhere. That could be really... Actually, I kind of like the idea of that, or maybe moving them away from...
I mean, Chewie.
Yeah, Chewie's an obvious pick. Because he's, he works for the original trilogy and the prequels and the Force Awakens. Chewie is 200-something years old. I do want to see Kylo Ren. We don't know a lot about that character yet, and I think it's like it's too soon to kind of like just throw that guy out there and watch him get shot up by a bunch of like kind of rebels. It just looks weird.
I'm cool waiting on Force Awakens stuff until we have like a full-blown suite of Force Awakens stuff.
Right.
That means like new troopers and everything. That's good. Oh man, maybe Greedo, like maybe Greedo does something because it's like he's visually different enough, but you're like, you goofy man.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have somebody like Greedo. The thing that gets tough is that you see him fighting Han Solo in the hero battle, but I think that's where your suspension of disbelief kind of drops for a moment, and you look at the hero battle as this kind of big mixtape, toy box, as we've been talking about. But it gets a little crazy when you start thinking about characters from The Force Awakens fighting rebels who are in original trilogy garb, and then there's stormtroopers who aren't First Order stormtroopers. Yeah. So, I mean, I do want to see...
That's not canon.
It's not canon. And I want to see Finn and Rey and stuff like that, but I think you're right. Greedo, Chewbacca...
Dengar.
Yeah, any of the bounty hunters would be a great pick right now.